Welcome to Cheese in Depth. I'm Michael Landis, and today we're talking with Fons and Laura from Tulip Tree Creamery.
Yeah, it's been an interesting 6 years now.
Very interesting start, and we started up with a lot of fresh products first, and then that's usually the easiest way to, especially as a small scale when you want to get started. So we rolled into that, focused a lot on farmers markets, and then slowly we started adding more and more aged cheese. So after the fresh cheeses, we started with the bloomy rinds, then came the washed rind cheese, and then came the bigger wheels. And we have kind of expanded the market accordingly and slowly been growing it. And yeah, now we have a nice established creamery over here. From in the beginning, we just had like a 1,500 square feet space, and now we are at 6,500 square foot. And we keep growing. So, and keep working on new cheeses and all kinds of new products. And that's one of the most fun things to do, I think, with dairy.
All right. So we have a little video here.
We kind of noticed over all these years of working in the Midwest is that there was kind of something missing. With those handcrafted cheeses, we want to give people something really unique. My name is Fons Smits. I'm a part owner of the Tulip Tree Creamery, and I'm the main cheesemaker.
My name's Laura Davenport, and I'm co-owner. I think initially we made fromage, butter, and fresh mozzarella. We'd sell out. We would grow here based on what the community would support.
People are really looking for these type of cheeses, especially when people who are traveling, they come back. You know, they always think, well, there's great stuff out there, but where is it over here?
We're making more European-influenced cheeses that maybe people here have never tried before. You typically don't see a washed rind cheese made here in Indiana. People from Europe were tasting it saying, oh my gosh, this reminds me of home.
What is it, last year in the last World Cheese Competition, the US won Best of Show. 2 years ago, we had 2 first prizes. So it doesn't mean anymore that the best cheeses are made in Europe. So that makes us proud of basically of every award which we win.
The local farmers markets allow us really to have face time with our customers. It's just exciting to be able to try out new flavors, new cheeses, and just get immediate feedback.
And the farmers markets are so nice. It's such a nice outlet with that. You have a contact with your immediate customers and show them what you can offer. People are really interested and have respect for that it's made in small batches. I think that's great because that's why we can exist. We do not want to be a very big company because then we lose that connection. Then we might have to give up some of those things which are very dear and very important to us.
Anytime the consumer can get closer to the source of the food, I think it's beneficial. You're getting your product from someone who's living right here in our community.
Food is such a big connector. You know, the choices you make about what to eat has such a big impact. I think it's very important to ask where the most important thing which you're putting in your body is coming from. You have to know this.
Food changes people's lives because it's a pleasure of life eating good food.
Yeah, so when we were thinking about what to name our company, we kind of threw out to some of the team members that were kind of helping us come together as a company. And Katie, who's been working with us for a number of years, recommended Tulip Tree. So we thought it was kind of interesting at first, but then when we thought about it, the Indiana state trees, the Tulip Tree, and then the company that did our logo incorporated that really pretty tulip that incorporates the Dutch tulip with the Indiana tree, the Indiana state tree.
Yeah, it's really, you know, it's also making that connection from my heritage, where I'm coming from, and then basically with Indiana. I think that's where I think the name really makes sense. And we kind of carried that theme from, you know, with kind of plants and all that stuff. We kind of carried that into all our labels and the names of our products. And it kind of makes it all look a little bit different, makes it very interesting. Yeah. And then, of course, with the labels too, put some nice fancy, you know, colors on there, bright colors on there. Kind of a lot of stuff we wanted to do, which, you know, we always had, we wanted to do, but we never could do. And especially now starting our own company, we wanted to get that kind of fresh look. So kind of that combination from, yeah, you have that heritage coming in from Europe about making products and all that stuff. But you also you're working with a young audience who really enjoy our products as well. So you have to be modern at the same time. So I think that's where we wanted to try to incorporate both. And I think bright colors with the logo, I think that really works.
Yeah, so we're located on the northwest side of Indianapolis, actually within the city limits, not downtown, but really on the edge of the city. And from where we are, you can hop on 65 and be in Chicago downtown in 3 hours. So we are not out on a farm, but we're actually on the edge of town, which has really worked well for us because we work with several distributors who can just pick up at our dock and, head north on the highway or cross 70. So all of the cheeses we make in smaller batches. Fons, I don't know if you want to speak to like how many gallons you're using in each batch or pounds.
Well, it's all, I think one thing which is really important to us that everything is handcrafted and we make everything in small scale. It's really, small scale batches. We process probably close to about, it's about, let's say about 900 gallons a week right now. And it goes really into these, and it depends a little bit on the type of cheeses which we have, but we have these nice little vats which hold about 50 gallons. That's where we make a lot of like the bloomy rinds and the wash rinds, the little square cheeses in. And then we have a bigger cheese vat, which we use for the wheels right now. And we don't want to go away from that handcrafted part of it. And that's very important to us. And that's, and I think that's really, we really want to get our hands in that milk and work with that. And one thing which makes it so interesting too is like for us, like being even a city creamery like this, we are not farmers. So we want to leave that to the farmer and would like to partner with a really family farm. So that's what we did. We have 2 family farms we're working with. And right now we're taking it from a farm way up north in Indiana. Really great, beautiful farm, cows on grass basically year round. And we're picking that milk up and it's so interesting to work with that. And when you get that and you feed and you see that changing throughout the year and get your hands in there and smell and, and do all those and you get the different flavors out of it. I think that's the nice inspiring thing about coming up with different cheeses like this, which is such a big assortment with all these different things. Like you have the bloomy rinds, you have the wash rinds, and we have the wheels. And then also when you start thinking about making different different wheels or different flavors. And it makes you, when you're working with that kind of quality milk, it just makes you want to do stuff instead of just thinking blank and say, okay, we're just making one type, one big wheel, and that's what it is. And now we really wanted to do other things. And we always had the feeling that we wanted to make these special, unique cheeses, which were not so well represented right here in the Midwest. We've done them both in the past where we're making big wheels and said, no, let's go with this. And that's why we got this whole variety of cheeses right now. And we're making cheeses from nice spreadable fresh cheeses to like the short aged bloomy rinds, wash rinds, to the longer aged wheels, where we really are going venturing right now, which have to age for 4 to 8 months. And you get this nice assortment, which we have a nice representation of a product in almost every category of type of cheese which we make.
So there's a cheese for everyone.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah.
Also on the picture, a couple slides back, there was an image of just our team members. And, we do have a small team and we don't have a retail shop. We're actually in our classroom right now because we do hands-on cheese making classes here. And we have a team of about 6 full-time employees and then about 10 to 15 part-time employees, because we still do farmers markets in our community. We do 4 farmers markets right now in the summertime, and in the winter we do 3. And that allows us to really still have face-to-face time with our customers. So we really, we have a great small dedicated team. Everything, as we mentioned, is Fons is hand turning the cheese, mixing the cheese, cutting the cheese, And we're using special paper that we import from Italy to wrap a lot of our wash rind and bloomy rind cheeses, which allows moisture to escape and allows gas exchange. So we, as we are growing, we still are going to maintain the handcrafted small batch way of making cheese, and adding and changing out different varieties so that there is a cheese for everyone.
Yeah, and a lot of people, what they sometimes don't underestimate how much work goes into a cheese like a wash rind or a bloomy rind. It's not like a wheel where you make it, you brine it, you put it on a shelf, and you turn it now and then, and that's it. The bloomy rinds, although they're they age maybe 14 to 16 days before they're being wrapped, then those are being turned 3 times, one by one, and batches are pretty big. Our batches are close to, let's say, between 400 to 480 pieces at a time. The wash rind cheeses are being washed like 3 times a week with a whole special solution. So there's a lot of love and care going into making these cheeses, how they have to come out by, after a certain amount of time. And so it's amazing actually on how many times a person has to touch that product before it can go out to the consumer. And so, and that is too what we are looking for, the people who are working in our company. It's not just somebody who comes in and does a job and that's it. No, you have to really care for the product, care for what we are standing for, what we want to do, and be motivated to take this and treat it like your own little product and be proud of it. And that's how we all feel, that we present a product which everybody can be very proud of.
Yeah, so Country Meadows is located in Hudson, Indiana, and they're a family farm that's, I think, 5 generation, and they have a mixed breed of herd. They have some Jerseys, some Holsteins in the mix, and we actually go and pick up the milk from this farm twice a week. We have an employee, John, who drives our truck up there and is picking up anywhere from around 450 gallons at a time, a trip up.
Yeah. Something around there, yeah. And it's really nice fresh milk, and you can kind of smell the seasons in the milk because the cows are always outside and what they eat. So and it's really nice about when I was talking last time with the farm over there and how they are going about, and they really are dedicated to make sure that this is. That the cows are basically happy cows out there. They do the best for the health of the cows. And that's the kind of story which we want. It's not just about, okay, cows are out there and we're only looking at the milk production. No, it's really about when we want to work with a farmer, we really want to know about, is that farmer, how are they actually managing the farm? And are those happy cows out there? Are they, and that kind of inspires us to make the products which we want and what we can do with that.
You want to talk about the Humane Certification that
you've
been discussing?
Right now, since we just started, by the end of the last year, we started with Country Meadows. Kind of took a little bit of time just to see, work with the milk and kind of how it would work with our products. Now we're in the phase of getting them Humane certified. We're very much looking forward to that. And that's also, again, it's a proof to our customers, again, about how is the farm being managed, and which is very important to us.
I think something also that we've transitioned to doing that I kind of mentioned to you is that we pick up the milk, which is kind of, I think it's rare for creameries to pick up the milk. Normally it's the dairies that are dropping the milk off at the creamery, but last year we decided that we would have a little more control over where we got our milk and a lot more options, because we pair up with we decided to pair up with other creameries. We can actually go get it. We're not dependent on, the milk coming in when it's supposed to come in and so forth. So that's something that I think is unique with us. And it allows us to also branch out and pick up goat milk if we want to, or, branch out to have more control over our milk.
Yeah, and that's a big thing which we have done over the last, I think, 2 years, is to really look at and become more independent and make more, so we can be more in control over all the things which are so important to us. Of course, milk is key to running a creamery, and then with the history of the last 2 years about everything going on in the Midwest about dairy plants closing and farmers who have to close and all that stuff. That gave a lot of, there was a lot of stuff going on with that. And that's why we decided to have our own milk truck and be in control with that. And then, you know, be able to work with the farms, which we do right now. And we really are very interested in, since we have a great line of products right now, but it's all from cow's milk. And we are very interested in starting to experiment with milk from other animals and see. And we have an idea about something which I want to do for next year, you know, especially when get some products ready for the farmers market season here. And yeah, we just have to see how that works, but it could be very interesting.
We are also getting our milk from Dandy Breeze Creamery, which is a local farm, but they also bottle their milk. So there was a point where we were getting it and we loved it because it was 100% Jersey milk. It was lovely milk, but then they decided, well, they started selling a lot of milk. So they didn't have enough for us. But yeah. We tend, you know, we haven't had that many suppliers of milk since we've been in business, but the ones we have had, you know, we've made sure that the milk is of really high quality and always move towards that Humane Certification.
Yeah. So again, it's farm management is key. It's not so much a stamp of this or whatever, but it's really about, you know, how do the people care? It's the same as like how we care about what we do over here. And that's like what we think about everybody who kind of partners up with us, from our customers to our suppliers, it doesn't matter what it is. We really want to see them as partner and kind of build a business with that. We really, like with our consumers too, and restaurants, we really want to get feedback on products. We love it when people come with us with ideas, say, hey, can you try this or that? And we are in a great setup where we can actually do very small batches as a little trial, a little test. And having then the farmers market as an outlet, that's perfect because you can just do a little test. We send it out there, see how people react to it. And, you know, who knows it? Sometimes it becomes a great product and sometimes was a great test and that was it. Yeah. And, you know, and based on how things have been going, we had even more products than what we have right now. I think we have like, what is it, 12 different cheeses or something?
That we make.
We're now coming to a stage that as we grow, we actually might have to let go of a couple products. Not that they don't sell, no, they sell good, but the other ones are even selling better. So it's like we're getting to that stage where we have to make those very difficult decisions. And, but yeah, but at the same time, we still want to work and try different little things, you know. And one of the new cheeses which we hope to get ready, which we tested out, is an Alpine style cheese. It's called milkweed, and we actually washed it, and it's just a great cheese. You know, I love it, and who knows? We'll see what comes out of it. I made several batches of it, and just don't know. But the reaction from the farmers markets were great, and people keep asking for more. But they have to wait till Christmas until we have more. So we have a couple of these things, and like now, you know, I'm working on something really new, which is we tested it out last year already, and that's you know, compared to a bloomy rind with a penicillium ripened cheese like Trillium. I'm working now on a Trichum ripened cheese, which is also triple cream, and which we call Queen Anne's Lace. We had it in small batches already over the past year, and yesterday I made our first batch again. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to have over next year, we're going to release that a couple times during the year for people who are very interested in it, you know, some distributors. And think about interesting ways where we can present some of those products which we might not be able to carry in stock the whole year, but maybe we do it now and then. Yeah. Those kind of things. So,
yeah, you want to speak to this a little bit? I mean, we've kind of talked about a little about it, like the small. I think we've talked about like diverse products, approachable. I mean, I feel like Fons makes the cheeses to be nice and balanced, and there's nothing that's so far out there that no one will try it. except for the Foxglove, which is our kind of stinky cheese. And you guys might have tried it already. But even though it's a washed rind, it is still approachable, and it's not such a knock you down in flavor cheese.
Yeah.
But we've tried to make them so that they're all pretty approachable, and we use the bright colored packaging, as you can see on the slide, and we decided to make our cheeses square. Most of them are square, which is a unique thing, because most cheeses are round, except for our wheels. Our wheels are round, but our smaller formatted cheeses are square.
Yeah, and it also makes it a little bit more approachable for like restaurants and, you know, who might work on a smaller budget. We have smaller wheels to work with. As you can see, the other big thing about our wheels is like you have the hops over here, you have the Haze or the Nightshade over there. Yeah. We actually don't put any coating on it, so it's a natural rind. And especially when you see that on the cut cheese, like on the piece here too, you see a beautiful natural rind. We age them out in controlled, you know, humidity and temperature, and that's, you know, we really like that. But it also means that there are a lot of customers who do like to use the rind. So if you then put something on there which they have to cut off, it just adds on to a loss. And we believe that, and to close it up, I really don't like that too much either. Because for me, a cheese is kind of a living thing. It has to breathe to develop flavor. And so having this pure natural rind on there, I think part of it is actually looks great. And again, it really goes to what we want to do. We want to make a handcrafted product. And it's, you know, we want to keep it as natural as possible. Not too many tricks with it. And I think that makes it very interesting.
Have you ever thought about doing a blue cheese?
Oh, we actually, we in the beginning, we actually started with a blue cheese, which we called Larkspur. It was a big wheel. Well, we had some mixed reaction. When it came out good, it came out great. You know, it was perfect. And then we had some inconsistencies with it that's made us kind of say, you know, let's just put this away for a while. And then I started developing, and that's a cheese which we don't have up here because it's all sold out. We have a small format blue, which we call Chicory. It's a 10-ounce little piece, and it's so great. It's one of my favorite cheeses. We age it. It's just it's not aged so long, but instead of having your typical blue, which can be very strong in flavor, our Chicory is one. How I make it is actually a little different. It comes out a little sweet in the beginning, and it finishes on a blue tone. And so it is you can eat it. It's not something like a blue cheese which you just have to spread on something because it's just too intense, too strong. Now, our blue cheese, it's just becomes softer and softer as it ages. It gets very nice and creamy, and it has this nice sweetness to it in the beginning, and then you get this nice kind of blue finish all the way at the end. And I just absolutely love that on a nice little warm piece of bread. It's just a little toast. There's not much else you have to eat with that. It's a great cheese, and yeah, and it just, like I said, it has just a little bit of blue in it, and it makes it very approachable for a lot of people. So maybe some people who would say, you know what, blue is way too strong for me. It's not my favorite cheese. We have a lot of people who actually like this type because it's not your typical blue cheese.
It's a gateway blue, is what we call it. Yeah. So,
but again, it shows you a little bit too what we try to do is sometimes we go into a certain way with making its cheese, and then kind of make a little switch to it, make it a little bit, make it a little different again. And I think that's the nice thing. And again, make it small, so you have a small format. It's like, you know, nobody really. It's so difficult to buy like a whole blue cheese to serve, and that's why I think for us having this this little 10-ounce little blue. Yeah. It's something which you can actually have a blue cheese right there on the table instead of having a big wheel, you know, and it makes it easy to sell as well.
If you go to our website, there should be a picture and a description of that cheese. So it may not be available to order online right now, but when it is available, we do add it to our online gift basket option. So,
yeah, and we just made 2 batches for it, which you know, so in let's say 3 weeks or something, so before Christmas it will be ready. But it's like I said, it's one of my favorites, and just because of again, it's the texture of the cheese, with the flavors, how it develops. And it's just a great showcase of the quality of the milk with the extra cream, which we put in there. And then, you know, it just brings out so much.
Yeah, and it is newer to our options. So it's not distributed nationwide at this point, but I see this next year being a year for it to be available outside of our immediate area.
Yeah.
More than now. We have some distributors that'll take a little bit of it, but I see it moving now that we've tested it, and it's in a really good place and has a really nice shelf life. And
yeah, and that's even you know, and that's the one which we make now on a kind of a regular basis. And then we also have another kind of blue cheese which we actually won a third prize with the ACS last year. I think it was last year.
Yeah.
And that's our Dutchman Breeches, and that's actually a blue cheese which is blue on the outside, so not on the inside. So it has the kind of the effect of having a kind of bloomy rind, but instead of being blue on the outside, white on the outside, it's actually blue on the inside. Blue on the outside. Using a little blue.
And all the blue ribbons.
Yeah, so and again, it's a very nice cheese. It's very creamy, and it's just fresh. And then you have this little finish of the blue on the rind going with it. Just a whole different style of cheese. And kind of originally, it kind of inspired me to go with that because I was at the cheesemaking conference in Pennsylvania, and we tasted. Somebody presented blue cheeses which were blue on the outside, and there was one famous one I think from Spain. I don't remember the name anymore, but and I thought, you know what, that would be great to make something like that with blue on the outside, but again, do it a little different. So that's how we came up with the Dutchman Breeches, and I think Katie came up with the name. So she said he would quit if we wouldn't use that name. So I thought that's actually a great cheese to use that name for. And but yeah, so again, we have another great cheese. We just right now we're kind of running out of time to make all these cheeses.
Yeah, if you know of any cheesemakers looking for a job, Fons needs some help.
Yes.
All right, second part of that question was, what about hard cheeses?
We have
a try one tonight.
Yeah, we have a couple varieties, and we actually make it in different ages. You know, we have, if you start with the youngest one, which is the Dutch Tulip, and since I'm from the Netherlands, they all suggested that we had to make a Gouda, and so first I kind of resisted a little bit because there was a lot already being produced, and then they convinced me just to say, yeah, okay, let's do it. And so that's our Dutch Tulip. And interesting part of that is that we do use actually a Dutch culture for that. And it's a great cheese which has to age, let's say, about a month. Very creamy, mild on the inside. It's just a you know, people who like cheese, kids like it, you know, everybody will enjoy that kind of cheese. It's a nice, general, easy going. But it again, it shows you nice, creamy, sweet flavors of the milk coming out. Nice consistency, and this works great. And I just actually make a batch for the holiday here, where we combine it with some spices from a local company, and then you know, and we actually mixed it up with za'atar. I think that's how you pronounce it. And so that will be ready for just before Christmas. And it just that cheese is just perfect for that because it has this nice creamy taste. And flavor and consistency, and it pairs very well with those spices. So that's our youngest one. And then we have our hops, which is this one, which is aged a little bit more, let's say 6 weeks, maybe 6 to 8 weeks. It depends a little bit. Sometimes it takes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. And the nice thing about that one is actually we combine that with beers from local brewers. And of course, also sometimes from other places if we get special orders, but we work a lot with local brewers on that, and almost every batch has can have a different brewer on there. And nice, it's a double cream cheese and pairs very well, very easily liked. And then we have our Haze, which goes much more into kind of a Swiss mountain style cheese, which has a little bit that you know, that sweetness to it, which is like a typical like an Emmental has, but doesn't have such many of the big holes in it. And then, so that was our assortment for quite a while. And then we decided we have to have something which ages a little bit longer. So then we started with our Nightshade. That's this one. And
they're going to try it tonight.
And for that one, we really wanted to, you know, also use a Dutch culture for that. And kind of inspired by one of my, a cheese from Holland, which I really adore. And came out, I think, so we wanted to have a Dutch culture to work with that cheese. Cheese has to age for about 8 months. And I think it's really nice. And we even haven't yet experimented on how long the cheese ages. Typically it sells and all inventory is gone when it's like 10 months old. So, but I would love to see how that actually ages beyond that and what the flavors are. And so far, it's the nice, very interesting thing about that kind of cheese is that, you know, before when it's like 4 months, it has absolutely no flavor. And then once you go beyond the 6 to 8 months, the flavor just jumps and becomes so rich and so much, it develops so much. It's just incredible. And then I always wanted to do something a little different, and that's make a true Alpine cheese. That's the milkweed, and we just started with that. So it's based on a true like Alpine style recipe, and of course we twist that and do it, and we wash that for a little bit for about a month. We give it a special wash, and ages for about 4 months. So.
But our hardest probably would be Nightshade, and the milkweed won't be hard. It'll still be semi-soft.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So a big variety.
Yeah. So he covered all the wheels from the more softer wheels, semi-soft, to the hard Nightshade. Yeah. Tonight we'll try the Nightshade, but that's the longest one that we have, longest aged. And
well. We don't have a question, but Laura wanted to just make a mention that this is wonderful. It's her favorite presentation so far.
Wow.